What's going on, guys? So it's that time of year again. This is the video where I get to talk about my most anticipated movies of 2019. I usually like to wait a little bit before I do this because January is kind of that period where I catch up on the films from 2018 that I missed out on. And it's also the slowest time for movies like all year, so once we get into February we can actually start talking about some good stuff. And there is so much to look forward to this year. I'm really excited about a lot of movies that are coming out in 2019. So let's talk about it. Also, there's a few films that I have already seen that I'm not going to talk about in this video, just to let you know. Glass was a film that I was really anticipating from this year. That review is already on my channel, so if you want to know my thoughts, I'll put a link for it at the end of this video. I've already seen the Lego Movie 2, and I'm working on a review of that right now. So that video will be up soon, so I'm not going to talk about it here. I'm also seeing How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World tomorrow. So that's another film that I'm going to get a review out of very soon, so I'm not going to talk about it here. So with that out of the way, we're going to skip over to the first big release in March that I'm looking forward to, and that would be Captain Marvel. This is one that I'm kind of curious about. I haven't seen any of the trailers, so I don't really know what to expect. I am a fan of Brie Larson as an actress, but I don't know anything about this character. But Marvel has a good track record lately of taking characters that I know very little to nothing about and making really entertaining movies out of them, so I'm sure that'll be the case with this film. I'm also really excited to see how it's going to connect between Infinity War and Endgame, and if we're going to learn anything new about the Marvel Universe, and just how it's going to expand the storyline. Us is a new horror film written and directed by Jordan Peele, and that's already enough to get me excited. I loved Get Out, and I loved what he did with that movie. Even with all the hype surrounding this movie, I do think Jordan Peele has really proved himself as a great director, and I'm sure he'll deliver with this one. Shazam is the next film from DC. It stars Zachary Levi as the title character, and this movie looks really fun. I'm glad DC's not really focusing on the expanded universe stuff as much anymore, and they're more doing spin-off films like this, because this looks like what they should be doing. It looks like a really cool concept. Zachary Levi looks to be having a ton of fun playing this character, and it just looks really entertaining. I can't wait to see it. This is probably the biggest film on this list, and it's one that I cannot wait for: Avengers Endgame. Infinity War for me was like an emotional roller coaster. I felt the stakes from start to finish, and it had me destroyed by the end of the movie. I'm really hoping this film has the same amount of depth, if not more, and that it is really a fitting emotional conclusion to what's been built up thus far in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I honestly have no idea where this movie's going to go, and that's honestly part of the reason why I'm so excited for it, because I like that I have zero expectations as to what the story is going to be. I wonder what's going to happen to Thanos, or if any of the key players in the movie are going to get killed off, who's going to win. I honestly just have no idea what they're going to do with this movie, and that's why I'm so excited for it. Detective Pikachu is a film that I did not think I would be anticipating, but the trailer was actually kind of good. It actually looks like a competent film, which is not what I thought it was going to be like. I love the way the world looks and how they've kind of brought that into reality. The Pokemon look really good, and I think they've done a really good job at recreating all of them. The Ryan Reynolds voice is a little weird for Pikachu, but I'm sure it's something I can get adjusted to. And it looks like it could be a really fun movie. We'll just have to see how it turns out. John Wick Chapter 3 is coming to us this year. This film was directed by the man who did the second one, Chad Stahelski, and I adore this series. The first one was a huge surprise. It's probably one of the best action movies in recent memory, and it gave us what is Keanu Reeves' best performance in a long time. The second one I also really liked. It wasn't quite as good as the original, but it had some amazing action sequences. I hope this movie is just as entertaining as the other two, and it feels bigger and better. I want to feel the stakes, and I'm sure this movie is going to give us that because this director really knows what he's doing. Godzilla King of the Monsters is a film that I'm pretty curious about. We're finally going to see Godzilla throw down with all the classic monsters from the originals, and that's going to be really fun. I can't wait to see what that looks like. I love that Millie Bobby Brown is in this movie. It's great to see her take on a big action movie role, and I'm looking forward to this one. I hope Godzilla has more screen time than he did in the movie from 2014. I actually really like that movie, but I just wish he was in it more, and I'm sure this movie will give that to us. X-Men Dark Phoenix. If you'll remember, I did talk about this movie last year on my most anticipated of 2018 video, but then it got delayed. I believe this movie's coming out in June now. And from what I've heard, this movie is a complete disaster. That's simply taken from articles on the internet that I've read and things like that. So I have no idea, but I'm just really interested to see what this movie's going to be. This is going to be the last big Fox X-Men movie before Disney takes over with the merger deal. So I'm interested to see if this is going to be like a conclusion of sorts, and I just really have no idea what to expect, and that's really why I'm anticipating this film. I do love X-Men though, so I hope it's good. Toy Story 4 is a film that I never asked for, but I'm actually really intrigued by it. The Toy Story trilogy are some of the best animated films in history. I love all three of those movies. And the third one I thought was such a perfect ending. It's probably my favorite Pixar movie. So it's kind of scary to me when we get to number 4, because this is when things start to feel like a cash grab. But from what I've heard from Tim Allen and Tom Hanks on the set of the movie, They said it's going to be very emotional, to the point where they couldn't even get through some of their lines without crying, so that sounds really promising. I hope this movie hits me in the way that I want it to. And if anything, I'm just really excited that we get to see these characters again, because Toy Story is literally my childhood. I hope to God they do it right. Really crossing my fingers for this one. Spider-Man Far From Home is the sequel to Homecoming, and it's going to be released this July. And you guys already know I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Pretty much every other Spider-Man film takes place in New York, and it doesn't go anywhere outside of that. So I love that this film is going to be a nice change of pace in that regard. I'm really excited to see all the villains, especially Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. That's another character that I don't know a lot about. Homecoming is a film that I liked, but I thought it could have done a better job with some things. So I really hope this film is a step above. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is directed by Quentin Tarantino. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie. This is probably within my top 5 or maybe even top 2 for most anticipated of the year. Quentin Tarantino is one of my all-time favorite directors, and I love this cast. I don't know a lot about the film's plot. I do know it's going to have something to do with the Manson murders, but it's not going to be like directly connected to that. Maybe just take place in the same time period. But any film involving Quentin Tarantino directing a cast like this is sure to be an amazing cinematic experience, and I cannot wait to see it. Here's a film that not a lot of people are talking about. Midsommar is directed by Ari Aster, the guy who brought us Hereditary, and it stars Will Poulter and Jack Reynor. That's kind of all we have to go on with this film. There hasn't been any marketing and trailers yet, as far as I know. Hereditary is one of the best horror films that I've ever seen, and I thought Ari Aster did a masterful job with that film. So I'm just really excited to see what he does next, and I'm so glad that we're getting another film from him this soon. It Chapter 2. This movie is coming out this year. It stars James McAvoy, Bill Hader, Jessica Chastain, all really great casting decisions. I loved the first one. I thought it was a really fun movie, and I thought the chemistry between all those kids was really great. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out in this movie with the new actors. This is another one of those films where I really have no idea where it's going to go. I haven't seen the original Tim Curry one, so I don't really know how the story pans out. But if it can deliver the same kind of energy that the first movie had, I'm sure this will be a really fun horror movie. The Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie is one that I have a lot of questions about. It's from the director of the Hangover trilogy, so that's not really the best sign in the world, but I am really interested to see what Phoenix's take on this character is going to be like. Robert De Niro is also in this movie, so that's pretty cool. I just don't know what to think about this movie yet. I'm excited, but I'm not totally on board. And last but not least, Star Wars Episode 9. J.J. Abrams is coming back to direct this movie. It's going to be the conclusion to the entire saga up until this point. And I'm really excited. Again, this seems to be a trend with this year, but this is another film where I have no idea where it's going to go. The Last Jedi kind of had a cliffhanger ending, but it didn't really set up the plot for the next movie. So I'm really interested to see how J.J. Abrams is going to continue this story. I love The Force Awakens and Last Jedi, but since Rian Johnson completely destroyed a lot of what J.J. Abrams set up in Episode 7, I really have no idea what he's going to do with the story now that he's directing it. He could totally forget about what happened in The Last Jedi and act like it didn't happen, or he could just go with it, so I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Leia after Carrie Fisher's passing. That's a really unfortunate situation. I don't know how they're going to work around that. I want to see if we're going to learn more about these characters, and I really do hope this is a fitting conclusion for the entire saga. It would really suck if this movie's bad, because up until now, I thought the other 2 movies in the trilogy were really great. So I hope they do it right. So those are my most anticipated movies of 2019. It's looking to be a really exciting year. I can't wait to see how it turns out. I hope it's better than 2018, because there were a lot of films in 2018 that kind of let me down. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, I will be putting up reviews for the LEGO Movie 2 and How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World very soon. Also be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.